Ми сьогодні в єдиному пориві
We are united in our desire to win this war without losing as little of our dear Ukrainians as possible. I'd like to give the floor to learn how local authority was developing in Slovakia, which relationships with local authorities exist there, to learn about the work of the prefix elected Mr. Maroš, Sagan, representative of the Union of Municipalities in Slovakia. I also like to, especially before the presentation of the profile committee of Rada about prefectures. Please, Mr. Maroš, the floor is yours.
Dobrý deň. Hello, here is Maroš Sagan. My name is Maroš Sagan. I'm mayor of a small town in Slovakia. This town is called Cifer. We have 5 million inhabitants, and the municipality is situated in the western Slovakia, near Bratislava or near the city of Trnava. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude for the invitation to this conference, but also my admiration for Ukrainian people and Ukrainian mayors in this difficult time. And now let me please share with you some experiences of Slovak municipalities regarding the impact of European legislation of their life. I will introduce this topic with some general information. The integration into EU is normally a long-lasting way, and it is a difficult process. In our case, the case of Slovakia, it took 9 years, and we had during these years to adapt our legal and economical system to the conditions of the EU. Once a country becomes a member country, the legislation of EU automatically becomes part of its legal system. The legislation of the EU is formed by proper legislative procedures. There are in the EU areas of law reserved exclusively for EU, then areas of law exclusively for reserved exclusively for member countries, and areas reserved for both parties, EU and member countries. The self-government, or the area of self-government, is not a part of areas with the joint authority, common authority, or with exclusive authority of EU. But the European legal norms have often fundamental influence on the local or regional self-government. The regulations in the areas like rules of economic competition, state aid, and environmental regulation influence directly the life of and the policies of municipalities and regions. And also other norms in agriculture, energy sector, transport, or justice influence indirectly, but fundamentally influence fundamentally the life of local self-government. One second, please, as I have some small problem, technical problem. I can continue. What is the impact of European legislation, the direct impact on towns and communities in Slovakia? I will give you some small examples. For example, in the field of environment, what is the main important thing now is the waste separation rate, regulated by EU. It has a positive environmental impact, but there is also some negative linked to this regulation. In Slovakia, we have a lot of problems with application of this regulation. We have very often an absence of financial support for local governments and a lack of system. Another environmental topic, sewage and canalization. What is positive, it is the improvement of living standards, an improvement of environment. But there is also some negative. For example, the application by the central government was not very good. The central governments gave few resources for local self-governments to do this sewage structures and systems. There was not a systemic approach from our governments, and in general, a little support of these activities of self-governments, municipalities. Another field is single market and rules of economic competition. There is some regulation about public procurement, and these regulations gave us a lot of positive things. In general, procurement of goods is more efficient in Slovakia after the implementation of these regulations. But what is negative is again the application by the central government.
This is your interpreter speaking. We're losing you. Could you please repeat the last sentence?
For example, for local support, the support of local unities, local economy. Another area, as example, is common energy market. What is very positive is stable and predictable environment of energy market, and we could see it the last months and last year. But what can be negative is unfriendly price impact on self-government municipalities. In the field of monetary and economic policy, we have again one positive things or more positive things, stable and predictable economic environment. But what is negative, this is the strict limits in economy of the communities and towns. The municipalities cannot create the budget without these European rules, and these rules are very limiting. Another area is justice and fundamental rights. About the GDPR and privacy, what is positive is the safe handling of data and privacy protection. But what is negative, we can say these are restriction on informing the public. So as you can see, there is always some lot of positive things and some negatives connected to the implementation of different regulation from EU. In general, as conclusion, I can say that EU membership is extremely positive for Slovakia with many benefits. Economic benefits, cultural value-based benefits, and safety. Even from the point of view of territorial self-government, EU membership has many advantages. It creates a stable and predictable legal and economic framework for the development of self-government. It commits to Slovak Republic to decentralization, what is really important to stay on this way of decentralization, to subsidiarity, to the development of territorial self-government, and to respecting the Charter of European self-government of the Council of Europe. It commits the Slovak Republic to respect and enforce the framework of values, transparency, justice, partnerships. It brings significant financial resources in the form of EU funds to self-governments. I can say from my experience that it brings to our municipality very, very important resources, financial resources. Thanks to these resources, we could during last 10 years renew completely our infrastructure. In addition to these advantages, the membership in the EU and the access process for self-government has some risks. As I tried to explain, the states can do from these rules too many regulations. Not all standards are equally beneficial for all EU members. A poor application of legislation in member countries, the legislative process in the country, in the member country, is not always has not always a big quality. There is sometimes some so-called redundant work. It means the member countries try to add some other regulations to the European regulations, which is very dangerous for the whole process. Very often in Slovakia, the EU regulations are adopted without financial coverage, without consultation with the self-government, what is really negative for self-government. In order to minimize the risks, it is very important that the self-government sector participate actively on self-government and on the creation of this legislation. It is necessary to do it, and to do it different ways. There is the possibility for associations of self-government to enter into preparatory processes in their country, to comment procedures, to do consultations. The associations of local government must also influence legislation through EU institutions like Committee of Regions or EU Parliament or other. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I tried to show you our experience, our Slovak experiences with the integration, and I hope I gave you some image of that. Thank you for your attention, and I wish my Ukrainian colleagues the early entry into the EU. Thank you.